The USOS just made an explosive claim that's going to rewrite everything you thought you understood about what went down when they lost those championship belts, and if they're telling the truth about being set up, we're looking at a complete implosion of the Bloodline that could fundamentally reshape the entire power structure of the WWE Universe. G and Jimmy USO are not the type of guys to make excuses, but when they came forward with allegations that something was orchestrated against them, that's when you know we're dealing with something serious enough to change the entire landscape. The family that built itself on loyalty, on blood bonds, on the idea that you never turn on your own, is now fracturing in real time, and today we're going to break down exactly what went wrong, who might be responsible, and whether the Bloodline as we know it can survive this kind of betrayal. For years, the USOs have been the backbone of the Bloodline. They've been the enforcer, they've been the muscle, they've been the guys who made sure that Roman Reigns' vision was executed with precision. Jimmy and G brought tag team excellence to an organization that sometimes didn't know what to do with the division, and they did it while also being deeply woven into one of the most complex and compelling family dynamics in wrestling history. Their partnership has always been about more than just wrestling. It's been about brotherhood, about carrying on a legacy that goes deeper than any individual championship. But championships matter. They're the physical representation of what you've accomplished, and when you lose them under circumstances that feel wrong, when you feel like something was taken from you rather than earned against you, that changes everything. The USOs are claiming they were set up, and the anger in their voices when they made that statement was unmistakable. This isn't about sour grapes or not being able to accept a loss. This is about something they felt was fundamentally unjust. What makes this situation so intriguing from a storytelling perspective is the question of who could have been involved in orchestrating something against them. Within the Bloodline, there are different levels of loyalty and different agendas. Roman Reigns has his vision for what the family should be. Solo Sikoa has been operating with his own interpretation of power. The Judgment Day has their own interests. Any number of people outside the family could have had motivation to see the USOs fail. When the USOs start making claims about being set up, it opens the door to investigating every possible angle. GUSO, in particular, has been on a journey where he's been testing the boundaries of what the Bloodline means. He's been exploring his own identity separate from the group, even as he's been deeply embedded in it. Jimmy has always been more of the traditional loyalist, the guy who understands the family structure and respects the hierarchy. But even Jimmy, even the more reserved of the two, is now questioning what happened and whether they were treated fairly. That's significant. The breakdown of the Bloodline that's starting to happen right now is the kind of long-term storytelling that WWE does exceptionally well. You can't have an organization built on family bonds suddenly turn into chaos without consequences. If the USOs genuinely were set up, if they genuinely have evidence or at least strong belief that someone within their circle betrayed them, then we're looking at a family organization that's going to start turning on itself. That's the kind of internal conflict that drives compelling television. What's interesting is that the USOs are making these claims public. They're not keeping it behind closed doors. They're not trying to handle it like a family matter in private. They're bringing it to the WWE Universe, they're making it a conversation, and they're essentially putting other members of the Bloodline on notice that they're not going to quietly accept what happened. That's an act of defiance that has significant implications. Roman Reigns has built the Bloodline on the idea that everyone serves the family, that loyalty is absolute, and that questioning the structure leads to consequences. If the USOs are now publicly questioning what happened to them, if they're suggesting that someone in the family set them up, then Roman has to address it. Does he investigate? Does he take their concerns seriously? Does he punish whoever might have been responsible? Or does he side with someone else and potentially push the USOs further away from the group? The championship itself is secondary to the real story here. Yes, the belts changed hands, and that matters from a competitive standpoint. But the real meat of this situation is about trust, about betrayal, about whether the bonds that hold the Bloodline together are actually as strong as Roman Reigns has been claiming they are. If the USOs were set up, then this is proof that the family isn't actually the impenetrable unit that Roman has been selling to the world. From Solo Sikoa's perspective, this is an interesting moment. He's been positioned as someone who has his own agenda, who isn't just blindly following Roman's lead. If the USOs are suggesting they were set up, is Solo involved? Is there a question mark there? Solo is the kind of character who could be operating on his own wavelength, pursuing his own vision of what the Bloodline should be, and potentially seeing the USOs as obstacles to his plans. The intrigue around what Solo might or might not have been involved in is going to be absolutely crucial going forward. The Judgment Day connection is another angle worth considering. Rhea Ripley and her crew have had their own dealings with the Bloodline. If there was outside involvement in setting up the USOs, could the Judgment Day have had a hand in it? Could there have been some kind of arrangement between Judgment Day and someone within the Bloodline to take out the tag champs? The layers of potential conspiracy here are what make this so compelling. What the USOs said when they broke their silence was measured but firm. They didn't just make accusations and disappear. They stood there and made their case, and the conviction in their words suggests that they genuinely believe they have legitimate grievances. That kind of confidence in your claims is different from just complaining. They believe they were wronged, and they're not going to let it drop. The aftermath of this is going to be crucial. Are the USOS going to demand a rematch? Are they going to demand an investigation? Are they going to threaten to leave the bloodline? Every decision they make from this point forward is going to have ripple effects throughout the entire organization. If they stay and accept what happened, it sends a message that the family still holds power over them. If they push for answers and accountability, they're potentially threatening to split the family apart. This is the kind of internal conflict that wrestling does so well because it's rooted in genuine emotion and genuine questions about loyalty, betrayal, and justice. The USOs aren't just upset about losing a match. They're upset about being betrayed by people they trusted, by people they're supposed to be able to rely on. That's something that cuts deeper than any championship. The Bloodline entered this situation as an unstoppable force, a united family that was stronger than the sum of its parts. If they're now fractured, if members are questioning whether they can trust each other, then the entire foundation of what Roman Reigns has built is in jeopardy. The USOs breaking their silence and claiming they were set up might be the beginning of a complete reorganization of how power operates within the family. What happens next is going to define the next chapter of Bloodline storytelling. Are we heading toward a civil war within the family? Are the USOs going to demand justice and reignite their claim to the tag team championships? Are we going to see members of the Bloodline turn on each other? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this moment so significant. If you want complete analysis of every major storyline developing within the Bloodline, if you want to understand the psychology behind every alliance, every betrayal, and every shift in power, then you need WWE Express breaking it all down for you. We dive deep into the Bloodline saga, we analyze the motivations of every member, and we give you the perspective on how these family dynamics are reshaping the entire WWE landscape. Subscribe to WWE Express right now, hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and join us as we continue to cover every twist and turn in this explosive Bloodline story.